3, 2, 1, and bam. There we are. Welcome, Nerfherders. Time to assemble for the very first episode of our podcast, which has not yet been named.
Nope, no name.
It's the Nerfherders Assemble Podcast. Keep it simple for now.
We saw the signal and we have assembled.
Yeah, we're jumping out. We got the call from the commissioner. We're here.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, we are a couple of nerds. We are videographers. We are photographers. But at our true core, we are straight up geeks.
Hardcore.
And we are proud of it. And if we're not out doing some photography and video stuff, we are working on creating some nerdy content because we just like making stuff. We really do. My name is Seth Jones, and I'm joined by my partner in crime here, Gerald Glaza.
Hello, everyone. I'm waving like a dork, but that's because I'm used to doing these on the video. But
yeah.
We are podcast now, so
we're going to keep up with the video content. For those of you listening on YouTube, go ahead and throw us on in the background. There will not be any video. You don't have to worry about missing anything visual here.
no.
Honestly, this is just to make something nice and simple for us, just so we can keep on bringing out content.
Well, it's not more so the simple. It's more the fact of that let us actually out of the box a little bit more than we normally do.
Yeah, something
due to
longer form.
Time constraint, and just kind of let us free form and bounce it. Topics and stuff off of each other and see what happens.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, we know that movie trailers are going to kind of slow down after a while. Like, movie releases probably won't be, at least the ones that pertain to what we're trying to do, probably won't be as frequent as would allow for like regular uploads. So we want to make sure that we can at least touch on some gamer news for you or some movie news, stuff like that.
Yep. All things pop culture related is what we're going for.
Indeed. Definitely hit the subscribe button if you are into it, but definitely give us a listen. You don't have to hit it right now. Give us a listen, see what you think.
Right, and be sure to leave comments and stuff in the comment section because we do read those and try to respond as much as possible.
And we will also have questions for you.
Or if you have a question for us.
Yeah, if you have questions for us, definitely jump in there. So, first thing, since we're fresh off of it, it's been very recent. The wound is still kind of open.
My HBO subscription is canceled.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I wasn't one of those that's canceled right after because we got Watchmen coming up on HBO.
We do have Watchmen coming up. And honestly, there's season 3 of Westworld is coming too.
Yeah.
And so I've got to stick with that.
But then you got The Rock with Ballers.
But the end of an era.
Yes.
Game of Thrones has finally come to an end. And I guess finally isn't the right word because I didn't want it to end just yet.
No, I don't think any of us really did.
And then after seeing the season and after watching season 8, now I wasn't as torn as a lot of people were because I wasn't following the show from the very beginning. I started watching Game of Thrones last year.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm one of those that started when it started, and was it 10 years now?
You were devoted.
Yeah, that it was one of those where I sat and watched every episode, and I'll admit that some of it was the fact that that was what everybody was talking about.
Sure.
And to avoid spoilers and to be able to have that interaction and comments with people, conversation and stuff, I was up on it. I enjoyed the show, but I was one of those that had to wait week to week, and in some ways that adds a lot to a show, but in other ways there's nothing like just a good old binge and losing a couple days.
I think the way that I did it, I had some stuff spoiled for me. Right. Like you scroll through Reddit enough, you're going to see spoilers no matter what you end up doing. This is also before they actually started had a separate mark for spoilers, but so there was some stuff that got ruined for me.
Right.
Like I knew that Jon Snow didn't die at all up until like season 8 because like he was shown in the promos and stuff like that for season 7.
Right.
And season 7 was the one that I hadn't been caught up on. I only finished season 7, I think about 2 months ago.
Ooh.
I think it was about 2 months ago. And I was caught up. I was like, all right, we're waiting for it. 2 months go by, I finally catch up on it. Now, I fell in love with the series.
Yes.
I absolutely loved it. I would say the first 4, maybe 5 seasons, things were great.
Oh yeah.
I loved like the political landscape that it would play out, where it was like it was very diabolical, but it wasn't just battles left and right all the time. Like it wasn't constant carnage. It was
right, and nobody was safe. Like nobody.
Yeah, like
and
never knowing who was actually going to be killed. Like the Red Wedding was the most shocking moment for me in any show that I've seen in a long time.
Yes, and the fact that characters, and I mean, if you read the books, then obviously you had a little bit of a clue in. But
Sure.
as I think this series has shown, it wasn't as dedicated to the books as a lot of people would have liked. And then we all know that season 8. When they got way ahead of where the books ended, they were just kind of winging it, and
yeah, well, it's even worse because they weren't winging it. Like a lot of people know, if you're familiar with us at all, I don't like doing a lot of background research on stuff until after I've already seen it.
Right.
And so this season finished. And I wanted to go in. Like, after the episodes, when they stream, they normally do, like, the behind-the-scenes. I cut it off before that. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to have the episode explained to me from, like, the writers and from Dave and Dan's perspective until after I've seen, like, the whole thing.
Right.
So I haven't gone back and watched all of them. But I've been on YouTube. I've been jumping through those, which is kind of dumb because I could just go back and watch the episodes again. What came out is that, not just through the behind the scenes stuff, but through my research, is that, and this is very common, like this wasn't hidden, HBO offered them more episodes.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to do just 6. They could have done as many, like I think almost all the seasons until the last couple were like 10 episodes long.
Yeah.
But I still, personally, I don't feel like that was enough time.
No.
Like even 10 episodes probably wouldn't have been enough time. Because, I mean, what was it? Was it episode 2 or 3 the Battle of Winterfell came in? I think it was 3.
Yeah.
I think the Battle of Winterfell was actually episode 3. Now, throughout the entire series, the Night King and the Army of Whites, the Army of the Dead, the Endless Night, whatever you want to call it, it was looming. It was on the horizon. Jon Snow knew about it. He was trying to batten down the hatches for everybody as much as he could.
Right, because they were already fighting White Walkers, and they knew what was up already.
Like he had been dealing with it in the Night's Watch while everything else was going on, and then when he finally like gets away from the Night's Watch, he still hasn't forgotten about it. He's like, yeah, okay, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Right.
Hard Home, absolutely excellent episode, and it made the threat even more real for everybody. We're like, hey, this is crazy. And then he's not mentioned much in season 7. Not a whole lot going on there. I mean, he's not mentioned. They're not mentioned a lot at all. They're kind of a background looming threat. They're keeping the suspense really high by not revealing how absolutely insane the villain is. And like Hardhome, I think was like the first real display of like it was the first real oh shit moment.
Right.
Like, okay. It takes literally nothing to just raise the dead and immediately become way worse than
right.
Ever going to be.
And he can almost control when and how he raised them. They didn't. It's not like a zombie where it was a certain amount of time and they just popped up on their own.
Yeah, like he'll just hold up. And honestly, that scene at the end of that episode where he's just lifting his hands and he's just staring off. He's almost smirking.
Yep.
He's almost smiling. He's like, "What are you gonna do, motherfucker?
Yep.
What are you gonna do?"
Oh yeah.
Like, that was great. And seeing that display of power was excellent. But not being able to like get any real conflict from him.
Right.
Like, I think that season 8 should have been completely focused on the Night King. I think they should have lost Winterfell. I think Winterfell should have fallen. Like, because they told us, like, it's an absolutely immense army. There's nothing that we can do about it. And honestly, I felt like that might have been the case in the very beginning of that episode because the Dothraki just disappeared.
Yeah.
Just absolutely disappeared. But then also didn't disappear because we found like a crap load more of them later in the season.
I think that was probably blowback from
Yeah.
that. All of it, they got. How could you wipe out the entire? Yeah, that's a whole nother discussion.
Just seemed messy.
Yeah.
And then, like, Jon Snow, who's been like the hero, he's been like, all right, this is
what I made.
This is what I was supposed to do. Like, we have to go after the Night King. He's struggling the entire time.
This is why I came back from the dead. This was my purpose.
Yeah, he's not getting a whole hell of a lot done.
I do like your perspective of season 8 being from the Night King's perspective. It would have been super cool to just totally flip.
I don't think seeing it
dynamic.
from his perspective.
Well, given a little bit more of a backstory and everything else, because who the fuck is he? Like,
I mean, there's still a lot of speculation that he was a Stark. Like, he's one of the first men.
Right. Or then there's the speculation that he's Targaryen.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's speculation. That might actually be
right.
in the books.
And
but
yeah. And so, and it might be one of those that if we read the books and such, we might have a little bit more knowledge on that.
There might be some more context. My biggest beef is that in the show, like, I didn't get to see what his real motivations were.
Right.
Like, it was just implied. He's like, he wants an endless winter.
Yes.
Like, he wants
winter.
an endless
Everybody like him.
It's
and,
like
and I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there right now that neither one of us have read the books.
Nope.
And we are.
I'm going to now.
Right. And this discussion is off of the HBO show only, and that we do understand that if we did read the books, like Seth said, that we're going to go back and read them, or I'm going to listen to them on Audible.
That might even be the easier way to do it, really.
Yeah, I retain stuff better that way.
Me too.
So, but that disclaimer aside, because I can see people right now listening and going, "Well, if you read the book, motherfucker, you would know."
I don't even think it's that. It's like, no. If you read the book, it was so much better. Like,
right.
Like a lot of people who read the book.
And I think those are the ones that are truly up in arms about, like, what the
because a lot of people are worrying that that's GMM's ending as well.
Right.
Like, that's going to be his ending. It's like, no, please, no.
Yeah,
don't do it that way.
I think he's going to take it and look at it and be like, okay, well, I like this, but I didn't like that. And he's just going to, when he finishes the book, it will fill in a lot of the...
Probably. I feel like there should have been one more season.
I agree.
Season 8 should have been just focused around the Night King. Like, they go through all this stuff. They've lost the wall. The wall's gone. Like, the various different settlements on the way to Winterfell, gone. Winterfell, like, towards, like, the late end of the show, like the late middle of the show, maybe say it's another 10 episode season. Or if it's just a 6 episode season, fine. It's just mostly battles and stuff like that. Say episode 4, they lose Winterfell. Like, every single episode is basically just this group of people losing. Main characters are being killed off. I don't, like, I wanted to see Brienne die. Like, I wanted to see her, like, she's fulfilling her oath to Sansa. Like, she dies protecting Sansa or Arya or something like that. Like, she fulfills her oath there. I still think she got a good arc. I think she got probably one of the better endings out of everybody, but still. And then the end of that season, they finally do deal with the Night King, but they don't look at it as a win at all. Like, there's not a celebration afterwards. It's like, wow, we lost all these settlements. We lost Winterfell. Maybe they even lose, like, a few other places on the way to King's Landing or something.
Right,
like that.
It was more that they survived, not a victory.
Like, because this army was built up to be such a big threat, such a huge problem, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Just completely gone, threat over, fine. It shouldn't have been that way. I really don't think it should have been that way. Like, so at the end of my ideal season 8, they've defeated the Night King, yes, but they've lost friends, they've lost settlements, they've lost homes. And they realize, okay, well, we got rid of the Night King, but Cersei's still alive. And during that season, that is when Daenerys is actually losing the people closest to her.
And that's when, and then driving her mad.
Yeah, like, they really push that on to where, okay, so Jon, he's still playing distant. He still doesn't want, he's still, like, trying to stay away.
Still bending the knee.
He's told me he's told me his lineage. She's like not trusting anything that he's doing. He's looked upon as the hero of, like, he ends up killing that king, so he's looked on as the hero of that battle.
Yeah.
And so more people are just rallying to him. Missandei gets killed at that point too. Grey Worm. Jorah survives. I want Jorah to survive. And then season 9, the actual season ender, season 1, like throughout the entirety of season 8, she's been just losing, getting more and more pissed off. People have been disobeying her and like going with what Jon says, because she hasn't dealt with a threat like this. She hasn't dealt with battle. She's been flying in on dragons.
Liberating people, and everybody has been thankful for freeing them. So,
season 9, first few episodes, the threat is still real. Rhaegal and Drogon die. So now her children are dead, and that's driving her even more batshit insane. And then the final nail in the coffin for her is that Jorah dies when there could have been an opportunity for him to be saved, but like maybe Jon doesn't want to make that sacrifice or something like that.
Right.
Actually, Drogon can't die in this scenario. But yeah, Jorah dies when like she thought that she could go out and save him. Doesn't get to do it because of something that the rest of the Starks don't want to do. They tried to
reason that it wasn't worth going and risking him.
And then she loses a really close friend, and then because of Cersei. Like, say Cersei dismembers, beheads Jorah instead of Missandei on that scene on the wall. And it's like, yeah, I've got a dragon. What are you going to do? It's like, oh, we've got Jorah right here. Hacks his head off. Right then and there. Done. Yeah. Daenerys, all out, bloody death war. And, like, the people are, like, totally on board for it. Like, she gets reports. It's like, yeah, the people wanted him dead. The people view you as this awful, horrible person. And that's when she snaps. And it would have made so much more sense because we would have had an entire season of, like, her really actually going mad and making more rash and dangerous decisions, and then just deciding, fuck it, I'm gonna burn the whole thing down.
Right. Like, if I can't have it, nobody can.
Yeah. Well, if that.
Yeah.
But no, instead we get super condensed, super compressed, rushed storyline, which prompted that post that I put out on social media. Don't, period, rush, period, the, period, story.
I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Don't rush the story. Yeah, it was just, because I remember seeing a tweet or something like that. Somebody posted out. It was inevitable to not see certain stuff, saying that the ending of Game of Thrones would be bittersweet. And I was like, you know what? As it should be.
Right.
Sure. Way more bitter than it was sweet.
Right.
Way more bitter
than it was
sweet.
I'm in the other camp. I feel it could have been way worse. And so I'm happy with how they did end it. And that, I mean, and with most good content out there, whether it be written or movie or comic book, whatever, generally leaves a couple opportunities for maybe something down the line. Whether it happens or not, that's different.
Yeah.
But there are so many different ways that it can continue as spin-offs or something else. And I don't know if that's what they were wanting to do. Is like, okay, well,
the ending felt like that.
We're done. We're done with doing this massive epic, just Game of Thrones characters. So many that let's do one where we come together and do a spin-off where it's a smaller, easier to produce and get stuff together, and
not as many different plots.
Not as many, and people getting, because I for one, like, had to sit there and I couldn't keep track of names for shit on, and like it was, and so it was one of those where similar name, like it's a lot to sit there and take in and try to remember, and then when you have memory issues like I do, it's one of those where you're like, son of a bitch, who is that? And like,
those little recaps at the beginning of the episodes are really helpful.
They are, and then it's one of those, and that's one of the things I love about comic books is that most of them put that recap page in the beginning of the next one, and I'm like, oh, okay, and that's why I can't read a book all the way through, because unless I just sit and dedicate to reading it, if I do something else, I get distracted, and then I have to reread and stuff like that. So
I'm on a little bit of a gap now after the move.
Yeah.
So I've got some comics that I almost need to like jump back on.
Right. But it's one of those, I feel that to get back on track, that they kind of want to spin off and,
it was all clear that that's what they wanted to do. Like
Yeah.
the ending episode, like so many different things. Like they had
Right.
Grey Worms, like we sail for Noth.
yes.
Okay,
And
so is that going to be a spin-off? Pirate Arya is a spin-off I would watch though.
I would,
Like,
I'm all for
Pirate
that
Queen
one.
Arya would be sweet.
And then you sit there and Jon Snow, it'd be interesting to see what happens up there. And like you have the internet that's going crazy right now with shipping Jon and I can't think of the Torment as cold winter night type things and see what happens. And so
Honestly, I actually liked that part where Jon goes up north beyond the wall.
yeah,
As soon like I saw him travel,
Ghost got his love.
Ghost finally got his pets. Good boy finally got his pets.
Yes.
That did actually make me really angry in that episode. Like,
Oh yeah.
pet the dog.
Right. I just imagine when he finally did pet, I just see you over there like and just tearing up and
It was
stuff.
a little bit.
And
That was a little bit
a
hard.
moment.
But I actually liked him going north beyond the wall because he never wanted to be like king or ruler or anything like
No.
that. That wasn't what he wanted to do. And I think he knows that like beyond the wall, he's got less of a chance of there being wars constantly being fought. Like they don't care about like kingdoms and crap like that. They just want to live.
Well, and that's where he found his love.
Yeah. There were several parts where the wildling, I think it was even Tormund who said, "You've got the North in you."
Yeah.
Like alluding to the fact that's where Jon belongs.
Yes.
It's like and a life in exile, being like, yeah, I don't like the Targaryens don't have a great reputation. I don't want to be associated with that. I don't want people to know what my true name is.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with being Jon Snow. It's a nice little dupe that they pulled on the Dothraki and the Unsullied. Be like, yeah, we'll just make him take the black and go up north.
Yeah.
And then he gets up there and it's like, hey, dude, what's up?
Right. And
Let's hang out. There's no Night King. Wildling's pretty cool with us. No big deal. We're
Right.
just gonna hang out.
Yep. And there is no more Night Watch.
Yeah. They Tyrion straight up knew what he was doing up there. He's
yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not gonna punish this guy. He just saved the fucking world.
Right. And yeah, Tyrion is
Best
one of my
character out
like
of all of them
Yeah.
entirely. Put him in the book. What the hell? I don't believe you're mentioned. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
right.
I don't know why Sam got to be Grand Maester. Or why Bronn got to be Master of Coin. These all seem like really weird. Davos being there makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But everybody else at that table, like Tyrion and Davos, the only two that I agree with being at that table. Everybody else, no idea what you're doing there.
Well, you got the one that for his loyalty, or he was given the land, and so that put him there.
Yeah, but like,
and I
what
think
does
that
have to do
kind of
with
came
being the
across.
Master of Coin?
Well, who else is left to take it?
Yeah, could have been anybody. It's still a populated planet. What the hell?
Right.
Like the thing that I did find funny though, before we move on here, because we got a lot of news coming in here. The thing that I found funny is that when Bran gets brought to the table by Pod, who makes it in the King's Guard, perfectly fine. It's like, I noticed that we don't have a master of whispers. Like, you can see through birds.
Right.
Who needs that? Why would you of all people need a master of whispers? Like,
I think Bran.
it's like, are you suspecting something fishy's going on over in Dorne or something like that? Just take the sight of some birds.
Right.
I don't know where Drogon is. Has there been any word on Drogon? So, really? You couldn't figure that out? Like, you couldn't, like, what? I can't remember. You couldn't warg into a dragon? I wanted to see that so bad. I wanted to see him warg into one of the dragons so bad.
Ooh. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Super upset. Super sad. But yeah, what? Okay, I could go on and on.
Right.
and it's coming off as weird because I said, well, I didn't watch it for 10 years, so I didn't get so hurt. But here I am, fucking.
Yeah, I think you're more freaked out and everything than I am about it.
Well, we've got this 2-hour documentary that they're coming up with. I still don't know if I want to watch that or not. Like,
yeah, I'll probably watch it just because I watched every other episode and everything else that came out with it. Because, And I watched the end of show recaps.
Did you?
And that's partly just because I like to watch the little red bar go all the way to the end.
Yeah.
But you pick up on some stuff there too. But
Well, we've got new stuff to watch now, because let's see, what should we start with? So there's been a lot of news in the Batman world.
yes,
So we've got Robert Pattinson supposedly taking the role. Actually, I think it's confirmed.
yeah,
I think it's confirmed.
Pattinson or Patterson? I think it's Pattinson.
I think it's Pattinson.
Yeah. Sparkly Twilight dude.
Sparkly Twilight dude.
But I am not.
Cedric.
I am
Harry
not holding it to that. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he has been in other movies that he's been really good in.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I remember back before The Dark Knight came out and everybody heard that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker.
Right.
And people were losing their minds. They're like, that's ridiculous casting. And it was like 10 Things I Hate About You, some dorky The Knight's Tale and all that stuff. You want him to play Joker.
Right.
And everybody saw it and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
See, and me, I personally, and I'm not ashamed of it, I was Team Affleck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, as soon as...
He's kind of hit or miss for me.
Well, as soon as they announced him, I was on board right from the get-go because even though we all know he was the bomb in Phantom Joe, it's one of those, I think it was Runner, the movie he did with Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
That movie right there, I was like, oh.
I remember seeing him in The Accountant and thought that was a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
It was a nice little action flick. But yeah, like when I heard when I heard it was going to be Batfleck, I was like, hey, cool. Well, let's see what happens. Like,
right. And I mean, I don't think he was what was wrong with Justice League and stuff like that.
I think that one came down to the writing.
Right.
Again, like they're rushing it. They're like people trying to capitalize on the Marvel success of the superhero team up movie. Forget that the reason that worked out so good is because they all had individual movies of their own well before the Avengers came out.
Established.
Most of them did. Thor's
Well,
came pretty much right before Avengers.
They had the plan. They had
a loose plan.
Well, they had the phases, and they had the plan. They had. I mean, granted, there was room for creative changes and stuff like that, but they went in knowing the overall big picture of what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And they fucking did it.
Honestly, Justice League, I don't hate it. Like,
no, I don't.
It's still a good watch.
It is, and I've watched it several times.
Batman versus Superman, the director's cut, the extended cut that I watched, it does help.
Yeah,
that makes it a lot better. For me, like the biggest hurdle to get over was actually Superman's character, because in Man of Steel, like the way that his character takes the turn that he does.
You and I have had this discussion offline.
So that was the thing.
I think you can get away with doing a little spoiler on that.
Yeah, well, just having him kill Zod.
Having him be dark.
Yeah, having him kill Zod was kind of jarring because he's a great villain. But yeah, hearing that Robert Pattinson is gonna play him, I think it's fine.
I
agree. Got to
agree.
give it a shot. Like,
oh yeah, and so many times they've been wrong.
The hope that I have for the franchise, for the DC universe, is that they do have like the success that the Marvel has had.
Yes.
Where they're making movies in the franchise that do end up being that good. So, but I think the big thing about that is signing on actors who are going to be in it for that long haul.
Right.
Like,
well, I think it's one of those too that, again, going back to Marvel, is that you see these actors and actresses that some of them are known before they start.
Yep.
Some of them get their break in the Marvel movies and realizing that how much, not only for your career, but just overall in general, how much it pays off for you. Yep. I mean, and I think we're going to start seeing a lot more movies like this where you have people sign on like Samuel L. Jackson did for what his initial contract was, 9 or 10 movies.
I don't know,
and,
but for an actor like Samuel L. Jackson, when you're in like 10 movies in a year, I think that's a drop in the bucket for him. Really.
Right, but still, to have that commitment, and I think it's gonna be one of those where you have actors that are signed on like that.
Yeah.
And what to me with DC is that, and you and I have talked about this one quite a bit as well, is that right now DC with their DC Universe app, the shows that they have on there are freaking ridiculously amazing and good.
Yeah.
And with Titans, and then you have Doom Patrol, and then you've got Swamp Thing coming up, and then Stargirl, and I mean, like the CW DC shows are pretty solid as well, except for Arrow, the last little bit of it, but
they're
we
almost
won't go
too
there.
cheesy for me.
But that's where I was going to go next, is that they're a little more campy, and they're the little more
they're more
family,
they're a little bit more comic book oriented,
right?
Really,
Family friendly and stuff like that. But like with DC Titans, and I went into it with an open mind. I was excited to the fact of you have grown up Robin. I've been a fan of Teen Titans and stuff. And I love that dynamic of Robin going out on his own and stuff.
Yeah.
And just the way they did that show, it's, if you're not watching it, watch it. It is well worth I think it's $4.99 or $7.99 a month for the DC Universe app. It's worth it just for the shows. But then you get access to comic books, TV shows, and like that app is really good.
It brings up an interesting question though, is like, because like Marvel branched off into the television series with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Well,
now they did great with them. Like,
yes, Netflix ones are amazing.
They're very, very good, but it's very clear that Marvel's strength is in the cinematic universe. Very, very strong in the movies.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the most part is garbage. It has its purpose. And,
I found it okay, but yeah, not an ideal watch.
It's too inconsistent. That it goes all over the place, and it's there to serve the movies and help
almost
move along, with Winter Soldier and stuff like that. I have watched the new season that just came out. It's so far it's pretty good, but it's one of those where DC on the small screen or in the app world or whatever you want to call it is killing it, but they haven't been able to translate that onto the movie side.
Well, see, every cinematic experience that I've had with DC has kind of fallen short. And I feel like it has something to do with the writing every single time. Mm-hmm. But some of my favorite comic book movies in general are like the Red Hood.
Oh yeah, the animated ones. The animated stuff amazing.
For Batman is great.
Yeah, DC animated, great. They're old. I call them old because they were what we grew up on and stuff. The animated series and stuff like that. That set the bar, and their animated movies, full length movies, and everything are stellar. It's just, and I don't know if it's because Marvel has just spoiled us and that they're just so good on the movie level. DC can't match up right now, and it's the opposite when it comes to the TV shows with Marvel. Not as strong on the small screen, except
still
for
Netflix.
Strong, well, I mean,
still pretty strong.
And I really I base that off of like Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Carter, loved the character, loved the show, but I don't think it was written well enough to truly do Agent Carter justice as to the badass that she is and was. Maybe. And everything else. And it might be the same effect where DC has done it so well on the small screen that Marvel, I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, what I was expecting when I saw that the Netflix series was coming up, like Daredevil is one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, he hands down.
He's up there pretty high. But like when we see these, when we saw them taking those leaps, like the first season, I loved it.
Oh yeah,
like the Netflix series were great. I'm still kind of salty that they were canceled on Netflix, and I've got to wait a while for them to, like, if they decide to continue them on the Disney side, and like how long is that actually going to take? But like seeing the strengths between the two universes, You've got Marvel very strong on the cinematic side, and then you've got DC very strong on the animated and small screen side. It's like, does it make more sense? I want to hear the opinion of the people on this one. Actually, do you think that it would be better for the DC universe, or as far as their media, to stick to a certain thing, or do you think that they should continue on with making movies and stuff like that, or would it be better for them to, like, you know what, we're doing really good on the small screen,
Our app.
the app, we're creating new content there, like, would it make more sense to go that route? Clearly that's not what they're doing, because we've got Robert Pattinson, who's confirmed for at least one movie, I assume.
I think he's on for 3, but
Yeah,
I think that's the standard, whether they make the 3 or not.
well, I don't think Batfleck got his 3.
No, I think he got 2 out of the 3
Yeah,
appearances.
he only got 2, unless you really want to count his small appearance in Suicide Squad. But that doesn't count to me. So
No.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. But we've got more Batman news.
More.
Talking about the DC side of things, because they've got Batwoman around the corner. We've got Ruby Rose. There was a trailer. I did watch it.
I watched that.
I watched it. We've been on a season break. I've been moving, and so, like, I watched some stuff. I knew that there was a good chance that we probably weren't going to react to that trailer.
Well, I mean, that trailer wasn't, I wouldn't really consider that a trailer anyway. I took it more as a teaser.
Yeah.
Because they really
still.
didn't. It was just more of, like, the camera moving and them posing and...
Well, I mean, we got a pretty good bit of information out of it. Like,
right. And we got to see her with her red hair.
I mean, it's definitely Kate Kane's character.
Which I am super excited for Batwoman. I love Batwoman in the comic.
I just like looking at Ruby Rose. So.
Well, yeah, but
I don't know. Relatively young comic, actually.
Yeah,
Like, it was like mid 2000s that she.
I don't even think that old.
Not that old. Like,
Yeah, the actual Batwoman in that persona, Kate Kane. It's not.
I don't know. The one that I remember reading was very modern.
Yeah, it's
and I only read a couple of them. I didn't continue on with the series. But she was a lesbian, which they held through in this. I think she was the daughter of some military guy. I can't remember it too much. Like, it's kind of vague in my mind. She had some sort of relation to military stuff like that, because, like, that's how she was fighting crime. Like,
I think it was if it wasn't military, it was police.
So yeah, it was something, some sort of law enforcement or military experience.
I think actually she was military.
Yeah, I can't remember
exactly. If memory.
But it'll be interesting to see.
I'm very
CW has done
excited.
a good job of producing entertaining shows. So
They have, and Flash hands down is the best CW one.
okay. I couldn't get into Supergirl.
Supergirl, you gotta kind of, it's one of those, you gotta get invested and just, it's kind of, to me, and it was like that with Breaking Bad. Like, I didn't get into Breaking Bad right away, like a lot of people did.
I still haven't.
That it was one of those where, like, I almost stopped Breaking Bad after this, like, during the second season, because I was like, I can't get into it, like. And then I stuck with it, and, like, holy crap, it's one of the best shows I've seen.
That's probably my next show that I'm gonna binge now, because it's already over, and for whatever reason, that show hasn't been spoiled for me. Like, there's been a couple, but for the most part, it's like I know very little about it. Like, I watched the first episode, and I can't remember what happened. I got caught up in something else, and then I broke off.
Yeah,
but like, it's like, I think the best route for me, even with these DC shows, is to binge them.
Yes,
is to actually watch them in that way instead of, like, waiting for them to come out.
I'm big on binging as well. Like, right now I'm binging. It's actually Misfits. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a British show from I think it started in 2009 and had like 5 seasons or something. But it's superhero based. But, like, I freaking love the show, and they have powers. They get them when the storm rolls by, and all of a sudden they have powers, and so they're dealing with, like, one of them can basically rewind and go back.
Is it Marvel or DC, or is it?
No, it's it's an original.
Nice.
That it's not a, or if it is based on a comic, it's based on an independent. And like I said, they're British. It's got one of the guys that stars in it was in the Umbrella Academy. Klaus, he plays Klaus in the Umbrella Academy, and like
Gotcha.
there's like you can recognize some of them because it's a show that kind of kicked off a couple of their careers. But
Okay.
and I'm binge watching that on Hulu right now. But for me, it's some of the shows I can't, like Doom Patrol. Like I read that comic and was very into the comic, and it's kind of it's a very eclectic group of characters that are kind of society's cast off, that the ragtag group of older characters as well. And just I love the comic, and now to see it on the small screen or the DC Universe app, that show is amazing. And the diversity of the characters and the stuff that they it's a very entertaining show. And it is definitely R-rated. Definitely, it earns its R, especially with one of the last episodes where that Flex.
Well, don't spoil it for me.
No,
'Cause I gotta go watch it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it, but you'll know it when you see it. But then, like I said, Titans is super solid, and like those shows, I couldn't wait to binge.
Which you've been telling me. I think you've been telling me for months now that I
Like
need
I've
to
even
do
offered to
that.
give you my username and password and stuff to just watch them and stuff,
Yeah.
so we can talk about them.
I've been real
And-
bad about it.
Yeah, it's
Been busy, man.
maybe
Been
that's
busy.
your next one you need to
That, yeah, it
binge
could be. Maybe I
is-
need to jump in there, and
And
I don't know. I just got my Marvel Unlimited subscription again, so like I'm back into reading comics now, and
Right.
that's taking up all my spare time. So
yeah,
I'm enjoying the hell out of that though.
no,
It's bringing me back.
yeah, I love my Marvel Unlimited as well, and it's very nice. Like I went back and read like Infinity Saga and stuff,
Yeah, that was the first one I went back to actually.
and reread a lot of those, and because I personally have 33 long boxes and 9 short boxes full of comics, and that was like it's been a while since I've collected actual hard comics, just for the fact of I have no more room to put them. So that's why I love the DC Universe, or not DC Universe, but I love DC Universe too, but the Marvel Unlimited.
Now those comics, man, God, they're expensive.
Yes, that's the other.
Like,
That's
they're
the other
super
thing.
cheap when you look at just one, but yeah, they add up really, really quick.
Oh, believe me, my pull list was ridiculous there for a while.
I mean, free comic book day this year, I pulled quite a few, and just looking at the price tags on, looking at the
it's
price tags of some of the other comics, I'd
$3.99,
be like, jeez, can add up quick. Speaking of comics, speaking of general nerdery, before we wrap up today's very first episode, thank you to anyone who has stuck through us this long.
I know, right? We just been babbling, not really
have.
knowing what we wanted to talk about.
That's
yet.
exactly what we wanted to start this up for, though.
Yes, this is the pilot episode. They will get better, I promise you.
will get
We're gonna be
I
a
think we
little.
did pretty good.
I think we did well, but I feel we can have a little more structure.
Yeah,
But then again, maybe that's just what this is gonna be.
maybe winging it is just going to be the way to go. But before we wrap it up, we definitely want to make sure that we mention Ocon.
Well, I don't think we just want to mention them. Let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah,
We got Ocon.
let's get a chat.
Okay.
We're gonna chit-chat.
Well,
Ocon is going to be our big event of the year, actually.
yes. And those for those of you who are listening that aren't in our area, Ocon is Omaha Comic Con. That it's actually in Iowa, but we love the venue that it's at. So
I don't
we
know.
won't
I don't know if that really counts. It's right over the bridge.
No,
the
I-
towns are
it's
pretty much
the
connected.
metro area.
It's the metro area.
However, it's Omaha and the Omaha metro area Comic Con, and this is the 5th year that it's going.
Fifth year that it's been going on. We went last year.
Yeah,
I went last year.
This will
to
be
do
my
some-
4th year going.
Yeah, we went last year for spotlight stuff, and that was my first experience with it. For the last few years, I've actually been going to a con in Kansas City around the same. Well, not Kansas City. Yeah, Kansas City. And that generally was my con of the year. I didn't have the financial means to run around to as many conventions as I would like to. I still don't, but we're gonna get there.
Right.
I mean, the big part of being at Ocon last year was being able to get in and cover the content that we wanted to, and this year we're actually in it.
Yeah,
we're gonna have a booth. So those of you who are in the Omaha area, or if you are attending Ocon, I know that after talking to some of the organizers, we've got people all over the country showing up to that thing actually, which is gonna be sweet.
What did Matt, the brain and genius behind Ocon, he said that he even had some coming from across the
UK
pond
or something like that. Yeah,
I think he said 5 tickets sold,
something like that. You got a big troop of people who are like just super into cons or something like that, or they're really into the office. They want to meet Meredith,
right? Or it's one of those where they for whatever reason they end up having to be in the Omaha metro area, and or friends or family, or
we're just gonna go out. Why not?
Yeah, hey. Omaha is
maybe they're exchange students or something like that.
Something,
they're
a lot of people knock Omaha. I'm not from Omaha, and I absolutely love Omaha. And
neither of us are actually from Omaha originally. We just got a lot of Omaha pride now, just living here for the last few years.
Right.
It's been great. But yeah, Ocon gonna be a big deal. We've got like Lita from WWE is gonna be there. We've got Meredith Palmer, also known as Kate Flannery. It's her actual name. From The Office is going to be there. I'm a huge Office nerd, so I'm super stoked.
As am I, which I think you're one of the few people who've actually watched The Office more times than I have the way through.
I've watched it too many times. That's completely fair. I know more about The Office than most human beings should know, at least as it pertains to in the show.
Right.
Any like behind the scenes stuff, I'm pretty weak there, but I've watched it too many times. But yeah, there's gonna be that. We've got a lot of different comic book artists. We got some voice artists who are coming out there. Last year, the vendors were great. There were a lot of great, even local vendors.
Yes,
local vendors coming out to distribute their art. We got some interviews with some of them. Unfortunately, we never got around to producing that content.
Well, we're gonna be doing that leading up to it.
Yeah, we're gonna make up for that this year.
Yeah, it's June 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yep. The end of June, tickets are available. We will also be doing some giveaways in our local area. So if you are in Omaha, be sure that you are following us on social media because we're going to be giving away some Friday passes. We haven't really figured out how we're going to do that yet. We're going to come up with something. We're going to come up with something fun for you guys, and that'll be happening during the weeks leading up to the event. So keep your eyes out on our Facebook pages. Our Facebook page. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. I'll have links down in the description here on YouTube. And honestly, if you can't find us,
we're on social media and we're on Instagram.
We're super easy to find. Yeah. We're super easy to find on social media, but we'll be giving those away. But yeah, we're gonna have a booth. It's kind of our Spotlight Omaha Nerfherders Assemble co-op booth. We'll be sitting down. We'll be chatting with some people. We're gonna run around the convention. We're gonna be taking pictures. We're gonna be doing some video footage. We're gonna be hanging out with some cosplayers.
Yes, we're gonna make sure that we're easily identifiable.
Indeed.
Shirts. I was thinking of maybe like cosplaying as like a sim character and having the little identifier above me or something like that, and then have it just say like Nerfherders Assemble and Spotlight Omaha. And
I think it'll be pretty easy because we'll be the two guys lugging big bunches of camera equipment.
Right, cameras and.
It's like if you see a couple dudes running around with cannons, basically.
Here I go, and here's cosplay. I'm gonna go as Peter Parker.
There you go.
Or Jimmy Olsen.
You're casually dressed.
Yes.
Just hanging out, but
just
you got a camera on you.
Just a Spider-Man shirt underneath or something.
Perfect.
Yeah. But no, we're going to be running around for sure, getting lots of photos.
It'll be easy to find.
Yep.
It'll be very easy to find, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff at the event as well. We're going to be doing some trivia contests. I'm sure we'll be working something like that out. I kind of want to get some people in for some like Nintendo Switch action. I'm thinking about doing some 1v1s.
There you go.
Smash Bros or something like that. I think that'll be a good time. We'll probably challenge some people to some office trivia, just because Meredith will be there. If I could swing it, we'll get her to come over to the booth and actually.
We're gonna try to get as many interviews and such with the guests as we can.
Absolutely. But yeah, there's anything that you could think of at a convention, like that you would expect to see there. Panels, cosplayers, artists.
Well, you got the
vendors.
costume on Saturday.
Yeah, costume contests. Like everything that you could think of for a con is going to be there.
I know. My son is excited to hit up the Transformer vendors. Any of the vendors that are selling Transformers, he's already got ones that he wants to trade for new ones, and like there's a couple that are going to be here.
Stock up on T-shirts.
Yeah,
like that's going to be where most of my money goes. I'm a sucker for a good nerdy T-shirt.
Oh yeah, but it's got everything. There are food vendors, lots of different things that.
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a great time. That'll be at Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa. That'll be June 28th, 29th, and 30th. Like I said, be sure to follow us on social media. We will be giving away some Friday passes. Check out Ocon on social media as well, so you can keep up with some of the announcements that they have, because they are not done announcing guests.
They are not.
Coming out to this thing. And there's still people being announced for it.
Come support the local creators. Support the local creators as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's several local artists and writers and creators that are going to be there as well.
And then you've got the Podcast Arcade.
Omaha Film Festival.
You got a bunch of different podcasters in the area.
Oh, yes.
Jumping on that. So if you are listening to this because you're a big podcast buff, definitely check out the Podcast Arcade. There's going to be a bunch of them at Ocon as well. They've got great podcasts. Like first ones that come to mind are Paranormal Dads, Daydream Instruction Manual, Make Eternia Great Again,
Weekly Geekly,
Men in a Tub.
Men in a Tub. I do know that due to scheduling conflicts and stuff that I don't think Daydream Instruction Manual and Paranormal Dads are going to be there.
I think a couple of the guys are
right as hardcore as they were last year. I know last year's.
I don't think they're in it, but they're going to be there.
They're going to be there, and you'll be able to see them. And we're going to pull them onto our podcast and
I'm gonna strong arm them into coming in here for a chat.
Yes, they're gonna
just for fun.
Yes, we know they like to talk.
Yeah, who doesn't like to sit down and have a chit chat? So, but yeah, before we wrap this up, because we got some trailer reactions we need to do.
Right, and our yet to be named podcast.
Yeah.
Which
if you've got name suggestions, definitely throw them in the comments down there below. I don't know what we're gonna call this yet. We're just gonna call it Podcast Episode 1. Keep it super simple.
Nerfherders Podcast.
The Nerfherders Pilot.
I'm sure something will.
Podherders Assemble. Nerfherders Anonymous. I don't know. If you got suggestions, throw them down there below. But we've got some trailer reactions we got to do. Again, I guess question of the day was really, you know what? Yeah, how do you guys feel about Robert Pattinson being cast as Batman? How do you feel about Ruby Rose and the future of Batwoman? Because those were the two big announcements. How do you feel about how Game of Thrones ended? Let us know. Like we wanna see what everybody else's reactions were. I have a pretty good idea of where those reactions are gonna fall.
Best meme I've seen though for Patterson is the Sparkle Lego Batman.
Sparkle Lego Batman. I think all the other ones is seeing Team Jacob being turned to Team Joker and stuff like that.
Right.
But I don't know. For me, I am for Robert Pattinson playing Batman
for as well
because I want to see where it goes. I'm for Ruby Rose, and
I concur.
I am somewhat overwhelmingly irritated with the way Game of Thrones ended. So I think
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Agree with you on that. I'm not as worked up as you are.
No, maybe not.
At the ending of Game of Thrones, but
I don't know. As a story writer myself, it feels like they dropped the ball at like the most important part of any story, and that is the writing.
Right.
Like if the writing's good, even a bad actor can pull it off pretty good sometimes. But
are you saying they pulled a DC?
If your writing's crap, doesn't matter if you've got great actors. The show's gonna tank.
Very true.
It's like I wouldn't even say bad actor. It was like a decent actor can make good writing still come off the page pretty good. But yeah, if you got bad writing, yeah, that's gonna tank you.
Yep.
And I feel like that's where it suffered. That's where some of the DC stuff has suffered too. But let us
Yep.
know what you think down in the comments below.
About anything, not or if there's something that you want to hear us ramble about.
Yeah. If you are listening on one of the other mediums where maybe comments aren't available, I don't think you can comment on Spotify or something like that. Just hit us up in social media. Just tweet out at us. We don't have Twitter yet.
We will by the time this.
We'll get a Twitter going.
Yeah,
tweet at us. Message us on Facebook.
We can be tweeted.
We'll be posting these podcasts on
tweeted.
I don't know. Tweet at us.
Twatted. Probably not
twatted.
I'm a twatter.
You're a twatter.
Wait, no.
This is going way off.
It is. Anyways.
But yeah, we'll be posting these podcasts on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, anywhere that we can, really, just to make sure that we're.
And with that last little bit, with parental guidance suggested.
Yeah, definitely for mature audiences. Episode 2, I don't know what that one's going to be about yet. There's definitely going to be some news, but we're going to shoot for this to be kind of a weekly thing, if anything. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes on us. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button or hit the save button on Spotify. Just upvote us or let people know that you like us. Share us with your friends. And
my vow to you is we will get better.
We will get better. Thank you for assembling, fellow Nerfherders. This has been episode 1 of this podcast adventure with you guys. Thank you for stopping by. We will catch you guys soon.
Thank you and good night.
Bye.